Welcome back to another show and tell video. Today we're looking at two examples of M4 upper receiver assembly, and we're going to focus on kind of a barrel, bare bones disassembly, particularly of a front sight based version. And a couple of things I've noticed might be helpful in the process as well. So, as you can see here, we just have a basic M4 upper receiver still attached to the barrel, pretty much intact. And then we already have a broken down version. So I don't want to get into showing exactly how the steps are because of terms of service and etc. types of rules of publication. But you can see here, one thing I've learned that should probably be done first while the barrel is still attached to the upper receiver is a removal of any muzzle device or flash hider that is attached to this end of the barrel, because you want the maximum type of bearing surface to provide torque to allow you to remove, again, any forward objects on the end of the barrel here. So once you've removed the muzzle device with any appropriate style of tool that can attach to the bearing surfaces, you will then also encounter possibly a crush washer that may be distorted enough during the crush, tightening process, that the inner diameter here has actually tightened up enough that it will not pass over the threads. So just be warned. Typically, when the crush washer is first installed, it easily passes over the threads, but once enough tension and torque is applied with any device here, it kind of crushes the crush washer in the recess and tightens up that diameter, so making it kind of difficult for it, as you can see here, to pass over the threads. So you may have to apply a bit of force and make sure that this is perfectly aligned to give you the best chance to have that pass over the threads. Other things that you should do in order after that is removal of the gas tube, and you will need some sort of small pin punch to punch out the uh, as you can see here, the very small gas tube roll roll pin. That is typically something that looks like that. Or you could actually jury rig a device that just happens to fit in, that size hole, and then get you started. And then you can actually, you know, put in a more applied force with an actual pin punch and then punch that out. And that gives you enough ability to slide the um, gas tube out of the front sight base assembly and then out of the receiver. So once you get this all removed, then you can proceed next to, probably best is to remove the delta ring and spring assembly versus removing the front sight block, because this requires more pin removal and you would rather not stress out this end against the receiver but when you're applying force in this area. So you need some sort of wrench, possibly also a torque wrench, uh, to remove the delta ring. So here on these two versions of these tools, you can see the different ways to tooth up against the delta ring and the barrel nut. So you can see tools are needed because this is under quite a bit of tension with the spring there. So these examples just happen to be from Magpul and GunTech USA, but there are various other brands as well. And even before you get to that step, you of course have to remove the hand guards with some sort of hand guard removal tool. Will be very helpful as well. Continuing, typically you can see here the cap for the hand guard would be up against here, as well as your front sight, uh, you know, block assembly or base assembly. And this is held in with two taper pins, so you will again also need a different size punch to punch those out as well. And typically you can gauge which way the taper pins were inserted by looking at the impact marks on the heads of the pins. So the intact side means that's the side that was driven um, in first, and the side with impact marks typically is where it was struck to drive them in. So in this case, these had to be driven out in this direction. And I noticed one of these pins, I think this was the rear pin, has this notch in there as well, possibly to clear this divot in there. But once you remove the taper pins, you can then slide this off. Sometimes you might need a little bit of applied force as well, because this is a very snug fit against here, because you don't want any wobble. So this has very tight tolerances to get over that. And you'll see how this was actually been drilled out to accommodate the pins that go through the front sight block. But that's basically it. All the components you'll end up with in order to get this off at that point, because this would be in the way of getting this off. And then once you get to this, you have a barrel with the extension installed. There's your guide pin, bare barrel, and your M4 profile on that. But taking a quick look at M4, or even just basic AR pattern type of items, and taking apart a front sight block uh, assembly, but also applies to even normal low profile gas blocks as well. This has been another show and tell video. Feel free to check out other show and tell videos on the channel. We also do unboxing videos, as well as a selection of book review media reviews. Feel free to check all those out. Feel free to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.